What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So today is going to be a relatively quick walkthrough video on an install commission that I completed today. This is going to be for an SP Sabers / Phoenix Props Darkness V3. This is Kylo's hilt. This has also been weathered by Austin at Astoria workshop, and I feel like he did a really awesome job on the weathering in this hilt. I'm pretty sure, well, SP did do a silver version of the darkness, if I'm not mistaken. However, I think that this particular hilt started off as the regular stock black hilt, and Austin did his thing to it and made it a little bit more worn and a little more, it almost looks like it's a a gunmetal silver, really cool looking hilt. I could be wrong. I'm making an assumption there. It's entirely possible that this is the silver version of the hilt and it's just been weathered. But yeah, looks really cool. We've got quillion side blades that have been heat stained, and they give a really cool look. I mean, I've got it right here. I keep looking down at it and it's not even on camera. But yeah, so I've done a couple of these before. Par for the course with me. A lot of the times what happens is, I'll not like a hilt and then do an install on a hilt and really actually fall in love with it or end up liking it. I was never a huge fan of Kylo as the character. I was never a huge fan of his hilt either, but getting one of these in hand, it's a really unique, cool looking hilt. It's big, but this particular hilt, it sounds fantastic. It's got a lot of detail in the pommel, so it's a great hilt. I do like this hilt. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the install. I'm not going to come into Fusion because I lucked out on this install and the client provided the chassis. Now, SP Sabers did offer a chassis with this particular version of the hilt, and that chassis was designed by my dude Jeremy at Solo Sabers. So I was fortunate enough to not have to design another hilt for this one. So this is a Solo Sabers chassis. It's a Proffie V2 install, and that's it, right? So let's talk about the hilt itself. We'll talk about the outside of the hilt, and I'll go over what I did for the install, right? So let's come up top. All right, here it is. So this is the Darkness V3 from SP Sabers. This has been weathered, and there are no body modifications on it that I know of, but it has been weathered by Austin at Astoria Workshop. I've got a really, clearly the battery is already in this. So yeah, we've got a really unique Kylo hilt here. Again, it came to me pre-weathered, so that made my job a little bit easier. This also came, this red wire came snipped already. I think, I've done this before on previous Kylo builds and, hilts with external wires. I learned this little trick of snipping the wire here. I mean, typically I think it's one solid wire all the way down, but making a cut here makes getting the grip off a lot easier. I learned that trick from Jeremy at Solo Sabers, right? So external wiring, really cool hilt. I like this hilt, right? So this does have side blades or quillions. These are Proplicator quillion blades. Well, I get them from TheProplicator on Etsy. That's the name of the Etsy shop. So they're almost like I want to say they're like a resin composite plastic. They're flexible. They're not like solid resin, but yeah, they're like a plastic or a soft plastic. So they're hollow all the way down. I wired up both of these with neopixel. So there is a 35 neopixel strip, double-sided, that goes up halfway, and then I step it down to 20 neopixels all of the way to the tip, double-sided. So it's because of the taper in this. I actually learned this little trick from John at Sabers Forever. I noticed that the way he was wiring up quillions a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a couple months ago, and he utilized that trick, which is smart because of that taper, right? It's hard to get 35s all the way up here. I don't think you can even do that, right? So Pretty smart. So that's what I did with both of them. I also made a custom resin PCB holder. So this is a blade side PCB from CCsabers. It is in a resin holder. It's just a sleeve that holds the PCB, and that is inside of this Proplicator quillion. And that also helps the set screw to bite down on this without, because this is so soft, it just gives it a little bit more to bite down on, right? So those are the two quillions. Let's talk about how to get at the chassis in this guy. So around the circumference of this part of the hilt, there are 3 set screws. You want to unscrew all 3 of those. Now keep in mind, I just flung that screw into the ether. Hopefully I'll be able to find it. This isn't like my old place where there's you know, old wooden floors that things like to get lost in the cracks. So as I was saying, keep in mind this is a drop-in. So the main switch is a drop-in magnetic switch. So this is just held in place with a magnet. There's a magnet on the bottom of this switch, and there's another magnet on the head of the tactile switch that is just underneath that. So this is the chassis. All right. This is from Solo Sabers. Really, really hefty chassis. Actually, when I made a post, when I made the socials post for this hilt, Jeremy politely reminded me that this chassis also takes a 21700. So it is a big, big chassis. You know, perfect opportunity to have a 21700. You've got 3 blades essentially, so you're going to get a lot more run time with a 21700. There is an 18650 in this currently, but to the client, it will handle a bigger battery. Fantastic chassis. Really, really easy to install.
I talk first. I talk first. I always talk first.
Okay, let's just turn it off. So really, really fantastic chassis. Easy to install on. I like the look of it. It's cool that it's printed in red, you know, to match that dark side feel. But great chassis. So it is a static chassis. It's got a little nipple here. And actually, you know, the fitment and the dimensions of the chassis itself were perfect. I mean, it's just a perfect press fit right up into the upper part of the hilt. Those 3 set screws for the grip also help to keep the chassis in place when you screw everything in, right? So we've got 2 buttons. Like I said, they've got that magnetic button here. That's a drop-in plunger switch. And then around the other side, these 2 soft plastic buttons. This lower one is your aux, okay? So once you get your battery in, hit that kill switch. I'm gonna put one. I'm gonna put 1 screw in this, just for the demo. Make things a little bit easier. So put your grip on, tighten those set screws. Actually, let's put the other one in. I'll find the lost screw after this, after I record this. So you tighten all those set screws, and then you're ready to go. All right, let's come down. Let's come down to the bottom. All right, so I mean, it really is a fantastic.
You are hard to find.
It's a fantastic sounding hilt. It's a really, really, it's a great hilt, honestly. So there are Lit PCB Emitters. These are all from CCsabers in each one of your blade holders. The quillions are 7/8 inch, and this is a 1 inch blade up top, right? So let's put some blades in this and do a quick demo. So for the quillions, you want to rest your quillions in those side blade holders. I'm not going to tighten these set screws. They're pretty firmly in place, and I'm not going to be swinging this around a lot, right? But there are 2 M2 set screws up top here. And then, of course, this is a 1 inch blade holder. Let me get my 1 inch. All right, so this is a big hilt. So I'm going to try not to hit the ceiling this time. All right, so right in the corner here, there is another M2 set screw that is also for your blade retention. I'm just keeping this in place for the demo. I'm not going to tighten it too hard. So for the majority of the font configs, I did like a delayed activation of the quillions, kind of be a little bit more accurate to Kylo's hilt. See what else we got on here.
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first. Whatever you want.
I hit myself in the face though. Twist to activate, twist to deactivate are all enabled. One more. Yeah, I didn't tighten that blade, so that's why you see it. All right, so that's it before I break something. I'm going to take the blades out of this one more time. So just so we can swing it around a little bit. Get it close to that mic. Once you put your grip on, remember you can slide where that wire is snipped back in place. It's a great hilt. All right. So that was a post off, obviously. So that's it. That's all I've got. That was the SP Sabers / Phoenix Props Darkness V3. Super, super unique hilt. It sounds fantastic. I've got a 28mm Smugglers Outpost speaker in there. It's just a great hilt. It might be a little unwieldy because of the shape and the size with the quillions and everything, but it's just a super, super cool hilt, right? So to the client, thank you very much for trusting me with one of your installs. To the viewers, everyone, if you have any questions, please, or comments, please don't be a stranger. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Thanks for watching, everybody.